Good morning. I've got a bit of a beast of a tree here. It's an English oak and it's got a huge cut mark here, chop wound should I say, and another one here where a branch came off, and it's pretty ugly. So first thing I'm going to do is get rid of these weeds. That's better. I don't know what it is. I quite like weeding myself. I don't mind it. I think what people hate about weeding is the fact that it's back-breaking and you're bending down in the garden. But in bonsai, it's up high. I think it's quite enjoyable in a strange way. So anyway, back to the tree. As I say, it's got two huge scars. And I think the idea of letting those heal is such a huge long-term project that doesn't really do it for me. So design wise, what I'm thinking is perhaps this tree can be carved completely open at the front, so all this can come out and let the edges roll round, and it'll be like a kind of hollowed out trunk, all visible from the front with all these new branches coming from the side. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I've got a nice leader here that comes from the back. And I've got another good branch here, so I think this can be cut off there, and this can be like the new tree. Or maybe that can go completely and I'll just build a completely new branch structure. That may well be the better option. I don't really know, to be honest. And I'll also add, I've never even ever carved a tree, so this is something I'm looking forward to as a project in the future, of just getting some tools and having a go at carving this up. Now, the point of this video is, in the meantime, what I need to do is put some movement into these branches. They're in a nice position. I pruned off the ones that I didn't want last year. And I think now's a good time, just before these come into leaf, to just add just a little bit of movement to them with some fairly thin wire, and then this can just grow for the rest of the year then, and possibly in the autumn time I can come back to this, and I'll have to do some research. I don't really know when will be the best time to carve something like this. If you know, let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on how I should approach this in terms of the timeline, sort of order of operations, if you will. So what I'm going to do now is put some wire on these branches. So I think 1.5mm wire should be perfect for this. You know, 1mm I might just struggle a bit with it, so let's go for the 1.5. It's such a big trunk that anchoring it might be a bit of a problem. I'm going to use the 2-branch principle, but I'm going to try and come right round the trunk to get as good a fixing as I can. So I'm not bothered about the wire being visible. As you can see, it's far from a show ready tree, this one. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put one turn, and then this is coming round to the back, and I'm locking it on the branch at the back. So that's now pretty solid. I'm really trying hard to avoid all these buds. Because I do not want to damage them. So I'm making sure that the wire comes sort of round and in between. them like that. So it's not a perfect, perfectly even coil, but I'd rather sacrifice that evenness for the fact that I'm avoiding these little buds. So now, in terms of the design that I want for this branch, I'll just put a quick turn in this wire at the back just to secure it properly. So now I'm looking from your point of view at the camera, and I don't think I want this to have any crazy movement. Ultimately, I think the canopy is going to be, you know, maybe something like this. So I'm fairly happy with how it looks, but all I want to do is just to really add just a bit of interest instead of it being straight. So I put a slight turn back and a turn that way. And then looking from your point of view, I'm going to take it just down a touch and just up a touch. And I'm just adding that bit of interest to the branch, nothing severe, just enough to just make it a little more interesting. And that's that done. So I'll just finish off this wire on, because it only takes a couple of seconds, on the back of the tree. And then I'll add a second wire to wire this branch and one round here at the back. So what I do is I just sort of say that's a little bit longer than that, that's coming round to here, there. That should be about the right size. So again, I'm coming around the front of the tree, I'm not bothered about that, but first of all I'll put enough wire there, so that's kind of locked in now on that branch. I can pull fairly tightly around and then come around this branch at the back, lock it in place, and then I'll wire this one, because you'll be able to see this one, you can't see the one at the back. So it's now avoiding that little bud at the base, there's another bud there that I'm just avoiding. And really just being careful to protect these branches. Now, what I don't want to do is mirror this and have the exact same coming up like a pair of horns on a cow. So this has to be different. It's naturally a bit lower than this branch anyway. So what I'm going to do is, with this one, I don't want to rip the branch off, but I want this one to come out more like that. This one comes out and comes back a bit, so I think this one can go forward. So I'll bring this one forward and then up. So again, it's different enough to this. It's got a bit of movement, and that's all I really want, is just job done. And there's only I'll wire this one afterwards. There's only two more. These two. This is quite a thin, small branch. This one is also quite thin. And I think for the time being, because they're thinner, I'm just going to leave them. I'm not going to bother. I think it's too dangerous. I really don't want to risk ripping either of those off, because they're in great positions. So that's it really. So there wasn't a great deal to do to this tree today. it's often the kind of way with bonsai when you've got a lot of new material like I've got. There's only a few branches, but I just wanted to sort of capture it on film, what I'm doing to try and develop this tree. Soil wise, I'll just quickly tell you about this one. It's in a mixture of garden soil and compost, you know, peat-free compost I think it was, in a bucket. When I collected it, it had one root, which was the tap root, and almost nothing else. I did not think it was going to survive, to be honest, but it's done well. It had a good growing year last year. You know, it had a big branch here, it had other stuff, and it did okay. But in the winter, I just went for it, chopped it down, and I'm quite happy now with this and my future plans for the design. So, thanks for joining me today. It was just another quick one, showing you what I'm up to. If you want to see me carving this in the future, subscribe and follow me. Or alternatively, as I say, if you've got any information, let me know about your ideas for carving this and when will be the good time of year to do it. So I'll see you soon. Thanks.